It smells like somebody in here pooped their pants. It really does. It's smelled that way since last night. It smells like somebody in here actually soiled their underpants. It really does smell that way. But there's no babies in here, and there's no dogs in here. So I don't know who could have done it. But it smells like somebody pooped their pants. And it's funny too. It's funny when people soil their pants. It really is. Man, that's just a barrel of laughs when people, when people just go right in their trousers. Because, admit it, you're laughing about it right now. Because it makes them, especially when people who are old enough to know better and still young enough that they still have control over it. See, it's people who are still in that, in the average person's life cycle, there's that long window of continence that comes between infancy and old age, So people who are, unless somebody's either very young or very old, then they shouldn't be doing this stuff. They shouldn't be soiling their pants. But it's funny though when people do. Like I remember one time, and a lot of times it's just, there's telltale signs because it stinks up the place. Regardless of whether it's a number one or a number two. Like even if it's number one, like I remember one time when I was in first grade. And I was just sitting there working on some assignments. They would like give us this busy work and stuff out of the worksheets and stuff. And I heard the teacher, my first grade teacher, asking a boy in the classroom, "Did you pee your pants?" I remember that because the teacher was helping this kid with like some assignment or something, and then finally she asked him, "Did you pee your pants?" And it was funny. I was trying to hold back laughter because I don't know if I had ever heard a teacher use the word pee before. That time though she did. My first grade teacher said, "Did you pee your pants?" Because apparently the kid has wet his pants. He was stinking up the classroom. He was. So but then there's a time. And then I remember a time in high school. There's some kid pooped his pants, and I remember every time he walked past. There was one day where he soiled his trousers, and he would walk past us in the classroom, and you could smell it when he walked past. But then I remember there's one other time, a different high school. This was when I took the bus took the school bus all over town. I guess I was a junior in high school when this happened. Somebody put a poopy pair of underpants on the floor of the school bus. They did. They put a torn, poopy pair of underpants on the floor of the school bus. And this student and this kid from my school, he was sitting right behind me on the bus, and he discovered it, and he picks him up. And he noticed, and I think I was the first to notice that there was underpants on the floor, but he was the first person to notice that they were poopy. And he picks up the underpants off the floor of the school bus, and he knows there's a big brown streak, a big wisp of poo-poo in the underpants. And he holds it up. He says, "Look, man, somebody took one in them." And this is a kid who was probably about 16 or 17. I guess he was probably about 17 at the time. He says, "Look, man, somebody took one in them." And that's the only time I've ever heard the expression "to take one" in reference to a person taking a dump. Because I guess it's like how you know how like in some department stores how they have a stack of flyers that says "take one." I guess that's what they mean. I guess it means to take one, not to take a flyer, but to take a dump. I guess that's what it means when it says "take one," where you go to a department store and it has a stack of flyers there. I guess that's really what they mean. I used to see that when I was like about 5 years old. I remember I go into a department store and they have a stack of flyers that said "take one." I was thinking, I wonder what would happen if I took like 5 or 6 of them. And then I remember there was one time, I guess I was about 12 or 13 when I heard about this. I remember my mom telling me that my aunt went to some restaurant and there was a man eating in the restaurant who was so drunk that he wet his pants. I remember my mom talking about that. That's what my aunt said. Was that my aunt went into a restaurant and there was a man eating in the restaurant who was just so drunk that he wet his pants. He did. So I think they threw him out of the restaurant after that. It's even funnier as people who don't even wear pants, like dogs. Like I remember in my day we had like a kind of like an enclosed porch, and the dogs would defecate on the porch. Even if you try to let them out the back door, you let them out in the backyard, still they wouldn't go out in the backyard. They would defecate on the porch. And my mom blamed me because you didn't stand there and watch them to make sure they went out in the backyard. Like somehow, like I had any control whether they went on the porch. I mean, it's not like you are going to sweep up every last bit of that dog doo that's on the porch. It was funny. So, and of course, there's the time. There've been a lot of times, you detect the telltale scent of a person soiling their dungarees. It's funny, it really is.